Hi everyone, this is Glenda Ganzon and welcome to my Human Anatomy and Physiology class. In this video is the continuation of our previous topic from our previous video, which is the organelles of the endomembrane system, particularly with the organelles for energy production and detoxification. So stay tuned. In addition to the jobs performed by the endomembrane system, the cell has many other important functions. Just as you must consume nutrients to provide yourself with energy, so must each of your cells take in nutrients, some of which convert to chemical energy that can be used to power biochemical reactions. Another important function of the cell is detoxification. Humans take in all sorts of toxins from the environment and also produce harmful chemical as byproduct of cellular processes. So cells called hepatocytes in the liver detoxify many of these toxins. This is a picture of mitochondria. The mitochondria are the energy conversion factories of cell. In the figure A, a mitochondrion is composed of two separate lipid bilayer membranes. Along the inner membrane are various molecules that work together to produce ATP, the cell's major energy currency. And in the figure B, it is an electron micrograph of mitochondria. By the way, mitochondrion is singular and mitochondria is plural. So what is mitochondrion or mitochondria? A mitochondria is a membranous, bean-shaped organelle that is the energy transformer of the cell. Mitochondria consists of an outer lipid bilayer membrane as well as additional inner lipid bilayer membrane. So the inner membrane is highly folded into winding structures with a great deal of surface area called cristae. It is along this inner membrane that a series of proteins, enzymes, and other molecules perform the biochemical reactions of the cellular respiration. And these reactions convert energy stored in nutrient molecules such as glucose into adenosine triphosphate or ATP, which provides usable cellular energy to the cell. So cells use ATP constantly, and so the mitochondria are constantly at work. Oxygen oxygen molecules are required during cellular respiration, which is why you must constantly breathe it in. And one of the organ system in the body that uses huge amount of ATP is the muscular system. Why? Because ATP is required to sustain muscle contraction, and as a result, muscle cells are packed full of mitochondria. So nerve cells also need large quantities of ATP to run their sodium-potassium pumps, and therefore, an individual neuron will be loaded with over 1,000 mitochondria. On the other hand, a bone cell, which is not nearly as metabolically active, might only have a couple of hundred mitochondria. The next is peroxisomes. Like lysosomes, a peroxisome is a membrane-bound cellular organelle that contains mostly enzymes. Also, peroxisomes perform a couple of different functions, including lipid metabolism and chemical detoxification. In contrast to the digestive enzymes found in lysosomes, the enzymes within the peroxisomes serve to transfer hydrogen atoms from various molecules to oxygen, producing hydrogen peroxide. And in this way, peroxisomes neutralize poison such as alcohol. In order to appreciate the importance of peroxisomes, it is necessary to understand the concept of reactive oxygen species. Reactive oxygen species, or ROS, such as peroxides and free radicals, are highly reactive products of many normal cellular processes, including the mitochondrial reactions that produce ATP and oxygen metabolism. Example of ROS or ROS include the hydroxyl radical and superoxide. And some of the ROS are important for certain cellular functions such as cell signaling processes and immune responses against foreign substances. Free radicals are reactive because they contain free unpaired electrons and they can easily oxidize other molecules throughout the cell, causing cellular damage and even cell death. And free radicals also are thought to play a role in many destructive processes in the body, from cancer to coronary artery disease. Peroxisomes, on the other hand, oversee reactions that neutralize free radicals. Also, peroxisomes produce large amount of toxic in the process, but peroxisomes contain enzymes that convert toxics into water and oxygen. So these byproducts are safely released into the cytoplasm. Like miniature sewage treatment plants, peroxisomes neutralize harmful toxins so that they do not wreak havoc in the cells. The liver, as an organ primarily responsible for detoxifying the blood before it travels throughout the body, and liver cells contain an exceptionally high number of peroxisomes. Defense mechanisms such as detoxification within the peroxisome and certain cellular antioxidants serve to neutralize many of these molecules, and also some vitamins and other substances found primarily in fruits and vegetables have antioxidant properties. That's why antioxidants work by being oxidized themselves, halting the destructive reaction cascades initiated by the free radicals. Sometimes, though, ROS accumulate beyond the capacity of such defenses. Oxidative stress is the term used to describe damage to cellular components caused by ROS. And due to their characteristic unpaired electrons, ROS can set off chain reaction where they remove electrons from other molecules, which then become oxidized and reactive, and do the same to the other molecules, causing a chain reaction. ROS can cause also permanent damage to cellular lipids, proteins, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids. Damaged DNA can lead to a genetic mutation and even cancer. So, a mutation is a change in the nucleotide sequence in the gene within a cell's DNA, potentially altering the protein coded by that gene. Other diseases believed to be triggered or exacerbated by ROS includes Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, Parkinson's disease, arthritis, Huntington's disease, and schizophrenia. Among many others, it is noteworthy that these diseases are largely age-related, and many scientists believe that oxidative stress is the major contributor to the aging process. The next one is the cytoskeleton. Much like the bony skeleton structurally supports the human body, the cytoskeleton helps the cell to maintain their structural integrity. So the cytoskeleton is a group of fibrous proteins that provide structural support for cells, but this is only one of the functions of the cytoskeleton. Cytoskeletal components are also critical for cell motility, cell reproduction, and transportation of substances within the cell. So the cytoskeleton form a complex thread-like network throughout the cell consisting of three different kinds of protein-based filaments: microfilaments, intermediate filaments, and microtubules. So in this picture is the three components of the cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton consists of, in figure A, microtubules, in Figure B, the microfilaments, and in Figure C, the intermediate filaments. The cytoskeleton plays an important role in maintaining cell shape and structure, promoting cellular movement, and aiding cell division. The thickest of the three components is the microtubule. Microtubule is a structural filament composed of subunits of proteins called tubulin. Microtubules also maintain cell shape and structure and help resist compression of the cell, and also play a role in positioning the organelles within the cells. So microtubules also make up two types of cellular appendages important for motion. The first one is the cilia and the other one is the flagella. So what is a cilia? A cilia are found on many cells of the body, including the epithelial cells that line the airways of your respiratory system. Cilia also move rhythmically and they beat constantly, moving waste material such as dust, mucus, and bacteria upward throughout or through the airways and away from the lungs and toward the mouth. So beating cilia on cells in the female fallopian tubes move egg cells from the ovary towards the uterus. And the other one, the second one, is flagellum or flagella. What is a flagella? A flagella is an appendage larger than a xylem or the cilia and specialized for cell locomotion. So they only flagellated cell in humans, or the only flagellated cell in humans is the sperm cell that must propel itself towards female egg cells. And a very important function of microtubules is to set the paths, somewhat like railroad tracks, along which the genetic material can be pulled, a process requiring ATP during cell division, so that each new daughter cell receives the appropriate set of chromosomes. The two short identical microtubule structures called centrioles are found near the nucleus of the cells. So, what is a centriole? A centriole can serve as cellular origin point for microtubules extending outward as cilia or flagella, or can assist with the separation of DNA during cell division. Microtubules also grow out from the centrioles by adding more tubulin subunits, like adding additional links to a chain. In contrast with microtubules, the microfilament is a thinner type of psychoskeletal filament. Actin, a protein that forms chains, is the primary component of this microfilament. So actin fibers, twisted chains of actin filaments, constitute a large component of muscle tissues and, along with the protein myosin, are responsible for muscle contraction. So, like microtubules, actin filaments are long chain of single subunits, and it is called actin subunits. In muscle cells, these long actin strands called thin filaments are pulled by thick filaments of the myosin protein to contract the cell. Actin also has an important role during cell division. So when a cell is about to split in half during cell division, actin filaments work with myosin to create a cleavage furrow that eventually splits the cell down the middle, forming a new cells from the original cell. The last psychoskeletal filament is the intermediate filament. And as its name would suggest, an intermediate filament is a filament intermediate in thickness between the microtubules and the microfilaments. Also, intermediate filaments are made up of long fibrous subunits of a protein called keratin that are wound together like threads that compose a rope. So, intermediate filaments in concert with the microtubules are important for maintaining cell shape and structure. Unlike the microtubules, which resist compression, intermediate filaments resist tension. So the forces that pull apart cells, there are many cases in which cells are prone to tension, such as when epithelial cells of the skin are compressed, tugging them in different directions. Intermediate filaments help anchor organelles together within the cell and also link cells to other cells by forming special cell-to-cell junctions. So this ends my lecture about the organelles for energy production and detoxification. Should you have any question, please write it in the comment section down below and I'll be glad to answer them all. And once again, I would like to thank you all for watching this video and for listening to my discussion. Until my next video, bye everyone!